Okay, so rookie mistake right off the bat. Looks like, and here we go. First day jitters from the new show. So, welcome to Morning Night Live with Marty Johnson, aka Dawg Knight. I'll be with you here for about an hour today, just going through some early morning news items and things going on in the world, plus just some of the crap that ends up on my Twitter feed. So, I'm looking forward to pushing this show out Monday through Friday, and we may do an occasional Sunday night show called Sunday Night Live. I should probably turn the volume off my computer so you don't hear my notifications. But anyway, good morning. I see Johnny Hellcat's with me. That's awesome. Johnny's one of my great supporters. And I've a friend I've met through the Ranting Monkey Show and all those things that he does. So anyway, let's for now, this show does not have a format, and I'm not really prepared to put guests on it. I'm still working out the bugs on using OBS, but I'll learn as we go along, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. First thing I'm going to start off with, though, just a little joke that I was going to read it like it was a news story, but it's not. So listen anyway. Let's just call it the joke of the day. So there was this young New York City woman who was so depressed that she decided to end her life by throwing herself into the Hudson River. Just before she could throw herself from the bridge, a handsome young man stopped her. "You have so much to live for," said the young man. "I'm a sailor, and we're off to Italy tomorrow. I can stow you away on my ship. I'll take care of you. I'll bring you food every day and keep you happy." Well, with nothing to lose, combined with the fact that she'd always wanted to go to Italy, the woman accepted the offer. That night, the sailor brought her aboard and hid her in a small but comfortable compartment in the hold. From then on, every night, he would bring her 3 sandwiches, a bottle of red wine, and make love to her till the dawn. 2 weeks later, she was discovered by the captain during a routine inspection. "What are you doing here?" asked the captain. "I have an arrangement with one of the sailors," she replied. "He brings me food and I get a free trip to Italy." "I see," the captain said. Her conscience got the better of her, and she added, "Plus he's screwing me." "He certainly is," replied the captain. "This is the Staten Island Ferry." Now, if I had a laugh track, I'd play it right now, but hopefully everyone enjoyed that. So, silly joke. Anyway, moving on. So, just been watching a couple interesting little news stories today, and this one actually caught my eye. And this is just one of those things you get on the chive, and you know how you always get, those clickbait articles where you have to click through 20 different, 20 different links to actually read the whole article. Well, this one was kind of a nice story, and I just thought I'd bring this one up about an incredible story about a biker and an abused girl. Here, I'm going to put this one up while we do that. So let's put that one on the screen. So this was an ER doctor that wrote this story. A 6-year-old girl had an accident. I'm putting this in scare quotes because it was a combination of parental neglect and her being hurt badly by an older kid the day before, and her getting dizzy while carrying laundry down the stairs because her mother was too high to do it. No 6-year-old girl should be in that situation, but if it had to be one, she wasn't the one. She was frail from bad or no food, scared easily because of what happened at home and in school, where she was bullied relentlessly, and still she managed better than most adults. Beneath the facade, however, was a very sad, scared, and lonely little girl. She came to us, and the trauma guys started in on her fractured arm and clavicle. Someone else worked on her cuts, and a nurse was keeping her company because the mother was nowhere to be seen. The neighbors had called EMS after she walked out of this house in search of someone to give her a Band-Aid. 2 cots down was a man I'd change the side of the road for if I ever met him in person. Huge, bulging muscles, beard, biker getup. Had been stabbed by someone he refused to identify, saying it must have been an accident or something. With him were his brothers, more massive specimens of the human race, bearded, grim. As it happened, one of those human 18-wheelers went declaring loudly he had to take a effing piss. Past the girl's cot as the nurse had, past the girl's cot as the nurse had the front open for a few seconds. In a split twitch of an eye, this scary dude turned teddy bear. Without asking, he just went in. "What happened, little one?" he asked. "I fell," she said. "No one falls like this. I've fallen a lot. I know what that looks like," he said. And suddenly, there was this huge man sitting with this little girl, making her giggle and flinch because that hurt, petting her hair and scaring the team. That's when I was called, because for some reason they always called the psych for those things. Not because it takes a psych, but because we're expendable in case the wardrobe-sized human gets angry. I walked in, had a brief conversation, and decided that this wasn't much of a foul and there was no harm, and left. When I was outside, the barn door human followed. He had tears in his eyes. "Who does this to a little girl, man?" he asked. "Assholes," I said, which I admit wasn't super professional. "No one should hurt this girl. I'm not going to let that happen," he said. Dude, we have security and you're kind of trespassing." "Stop me," he said. He smiled between tears. And that's when it all went crazy. The girl's mother came in, still strung out, with her weird steroid pump boyfriend in tow. Made a scene. Wanted some morphine to take home for the girl. Yeah, right. Wanted the $20 the girls had taken from her piggy bank to buy food, and more. And between the steroid guy and the mother and the girl stood the whole motorcycle club. Turns out that Mr. Mount Everest was the chaplain of that motorcycle club. That's not a religious designation, but might as well be. He's the guy everyone comes to with their problems. And in return, he's got the power to command most any favor. The boyfriend tried a few things to intimidate the girl, like telling her that she knew what would happen if she told the nurses about their home life, and that she'd better get well soon because the dishes weren't done. And for every attempt at intimidating her, 2 of those bikers stood by her side, keeping her safe. Keeping the staff safe, including the walking with the nurse to get medications. Now, that's where my part ends, but the grapevine works, and for the coming days she was in the hospital, they stayed with her. Their own member had his arm stitched up and went home that day. They stuck around, which was a problem for the hospital because legally they could not be there, not being direct relatives and all. But the mother had enough brain not to call the cops. The hospital was somewhat ambivalent. And the nurses loved those scruffy teddy bears who'd come in with gifts and snuck candy and told stories. I met one of those bikers a few weeks later. He had accidentally been hit with a baseball bat and needed some x-rays because those things cause massive internal bleeding. He told me that when the girl was about to be discharged, they'd have a conversation with the mother and had come to a mutual agreement. That one of the brothers was a teacher and had been visiting with the girl to get her up to speed and stuff. That another brother brought her to school until the bullies understood that there was muscle behind her, and that their advocate had a nice talk with the teacher about allowing this kind of bullying. I don't know what happened to her, but I know that for a second there, looking into the eyes of a man who probably wasn't the kind of person you'd expect to care, I saw something that made me glad to be where I was, that even he could show concern and love for a stranger, and turn from scary mother effer into a teddy bear in seconds. That day was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. So, yeah, I kind of like, that was kind of a nice story. And, oh, hey, what's up? I don't know what to call you, Hate. I'll just call you Camel. I see Camel and Johnny Hellcat in the chat. Yeah, that's one of those stories you go, you're really glad that there are some people in the world who are just all about protecting kids. So let's see now what's going on here. So learning how to hit my transition so I don't have all these multiple screens popping up. Let's see. So I want to just check the old Let's go on the old Twitter feed here because I was going to check a couple things. Let's go back to home just to see what's trending today. Oh, so what's trending? Well, Chris Pratt and Catherine Schwarzenegger are trending. If you haven't heard, Chris Pratt, the actor, is engaged to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter. So let's go. Let's do a Daily Caller article for this one. What fans need to know. What do you need to know? I don't care usually. I mean, yeah. Oh. Okay, I just caught the official name of the Hade camel, Octavius, which has a kind of a connotation of 8 for the age 8. Horatio Octavius Camel, but camel works. Okay, good. I'll just stick with camel. And yeah, we'll have you on when I actually start doing this as a Google Hangout. I just got to figure out how to incorporate Google Hangouts into my what do you call it? Into Streamlabs OBS. I'm still learning all this stuff. I'm an old dog, but I can learn new tricks eventually. So anyway, now the reason I brought up Chris Pratt though is because Chris Pratt has lately, well, one, it's trending on what is it? Trending on Twitter. He used to be married to Anna Faris, I think, too. But he's kind of gets a lot of shit from the left because he's, I don't know if he's a Trump supporter. I know he's definitely kind of a Christian type, and so that's a good reason for anyone on the left to hate him. And he's been kind of more vocal about his personal beliefs lately. So anyway, let's see here on the Daily Caller. Movie star Chris Pratt is off the market. Pratt announced his engagement to his girlfriend, Catherine Schwarzenegger, who he has been dating since this past summer, on Instagram in the early morning hours. So that's always the best place to announce your engagement, on Instagram. Former Parks and Rec star shared a photo of the two of them embracing and wrote, "Sweet Catherine, so happy you said yes. I'm thrilled to be marrying you. Proud to live boldly in faith with you." There's that word, faith. Careful. Here we go. Okay, so then they got a little slideshow of them on the Instagram page. And what else in here? Is there anything else interesting about the story? I don't know. Other than it's, his new father-in-law is about to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I suppose that's pretty cool. I don't know if this is a Maria Shriver child or not, though. And unfortunately, this article doesn't have a good picture. Let's find a better picture here, because I'm sure there's a. Let's go back to Twitter here. Chris Pratt. Let's find a picture of her. There she is. Well, she's a fine-looking young lady, and I think, you know what, she has. Looks like she has some qualities of Maria Shriver. I don't know if, although I haven't seen Maria Shriver mentioned in this, but anyway, she's an attractive young gal. Okay, let's see what else is. Let's see what else is trending on Twitter today. Anything exciting? Reverse the fee. Let's see what that's about. Now, well, here we go. Let's look at this real quick. So let's see. Verizon Wireless is going to start charging for text messages from Remind starting 1/28. I don't even know what Remind is. This is a travesty, as Remind has been a wonderful resource between parents and teachers for both daily and emergency communication. Okay, are either of you familiar with Remind? Or any of you on there? I've never heard of it. Let's see. Here's what it is. What's happening? To offer our text messaging service free of charge, Remind is always paid for each text that our users receive or send. Now Verizon is charging Remind an additional fee intended for companies that send spam over its network. Your Remind messages aren't spam, but our efforts to resolve the issue with Verizon haven't been successful. Let's see. I'm looking at something else here. Okay, apparently this is some kind of a communications resource that schools use. Unfortunately, I don't have kids in schools anymore, so well, I shouldn't say school. My son is in a senior year of college, but so I don't even know what that is. Let's go back. What else is interesting today? The best men can be. Oh, that's a promotion from Gillette. Not spam. Buddy Thoughts. Gannett and Gloucester. Oh. Apparently there is an active shooter situation in Gloucester County, New Jersey. Police are investigating the reported active shooter incident at a UPS facility in Logan Township, New Jersey. There was no report on injuries or fatalities. That sucks. I work for UPS and in my town here. Let's see if there's anything else on this. Doesn't look like there's any more information. Breaking, this is the UPS facility in South Jersey with active shooter situation. Police have set up a perimeter and robocalls have gone out to keep the workers away. We're gathering the very latest. We'll have more on 6 ABC. That's interesting because, yeah, UPS, somebody went postal. That's weird because I don't know that my facility even has a robocall system. The individual managers all have our phone numbers, our cell phone numbers, but I don't know if that situation ever happened in our town, if I would even know about it. And need a little coffee here. But that's interesting. Let's see what else we got here. I keep flipping off while I'm scrolling through stuff because, let's see. Donald Trump rejects Senator Graham's deal to reopen the government. My whole thing on this shutdown, I don't know what to think about it. Was it? I guess this whole immigration thing has been going on for years and years. I mean, ever since I can remember. I mean, back in the 70s when I was a kid, the president was talking about illegal immigration. President Carter, President Reagan, the first Bush, Clinton, GW. Every president in my lifetime has been talking about illegal immigration. And they've always tried to make these deals, and they've never done anything to secure the border. So personally, it sounds like it makes sense to me. I mean, if it's a border wall or just increasing, obviously everywhere they've put fencing or border walls, it has stopped immigration. So I've always wondered when I hear like Chuck Schumer talk about building a wall would be ineffective. Well, how? Has anyone ever explained how? I've never understood that. So I know the government shutdown, maybe it's just because I've gone through so many government shutdowns and not a single one has ever affected me. I've never, I feel bad for people working in the government, but I just wonder, when are they going to actually do something that stops the problem? You can't negotiate, all the people are here. You can't negotiate any other aspect of creating other programs that bring in workers or whatever that are needed without having some sort of border security. So that's just my opinion. It's not a well thought out one, but all right, let's go back to Twitter here. What else is new? Well, Brent Moselle is asking to defund NPR. Nothing new about that. Let's see here. Oh, here's a good one. Procter & Gamble ad challenges to men to shave their toxic masculinity. Oh, here we go. I'm just finding stuff that's on Twitter. Haven't looked at it. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Procter & Gamble challenges men to shave their toxic masculinity in Gillette ad. Spots pegged to Me Too asks, is this the best a man can get? Gillette addresses toxic masculinity in a new digital ad campaign aimed at men, the latest message from an advertiser attempting to change societal norms. The ad, dubbed We Believe, opens with audio of news about the current Me Too movement. A narrator then goes on to dispute the notion that boys will be boys, asking, is this the best a man can get? We can't hide from it. It has been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off, making the same old excuses. You know what? I think this is an ad we need to watch. Hey, take it easy, Johnny Hellcat. I'm sorry. I just noticed that you were signing out. So have a great day, my man. Let's see. Let's look at this ad. Because I'm just going to... Anyway, let's just do this.
Against sexual harassment.
Let's start over so you got volume.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual
Toxic
harassment.
masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it? We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault.
Oh my God! No, they're not using Anis Kasparian. Get the hell out of
No
here.
going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Smile, sweetie. Come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool. Not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men, we're acting like we gonna shake it.
and small.
I am strong.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
And we get a nice little clip for that. Oh, you know. I'm at a loss for words. I think your job, Procter & Gamble, is to sell razors. And ooh, I'm annoying. You know, I see their what is it, Word Lotus. You know, you can't help but buy Procter & Gamble products. I mean, it's you know, there's it's funny when I was going to intern for Procter & Gamble back in college and didn't realize that they pretty much everything you buy is practically Procter & Gamble. You know, they got to remember you have an ad of every just possible there are lots of bad things in the world, and saying that this whole notion that men have to change from being almost acting like men are not decent human beings. And I'm looking for the day when they do the same type of ad for behaviors that women have that are toxic. You know, it's not like humans are toxic. And yes, we don't ever hear about the qualities that men have that are good. And that's what drives me nuts about these types of ads and this type of constant bombardment. You know, it can, right now, you never hear, boys growing up especially, never hear about their good qualities anymore. Everything that we talk about is, you know, the education system is kind of, you know, geared towards encouraging girls, but no longer are we to encourage boys, unless of course you're a minority, then you get encouraged. But you know, the fact that more and more boys are leaving the educational system early, boys are checking out, and I don't think that's good for society. It's great that women are stepping up and stepping into things that they want to do. But when we've gone so overboard on a lot of this stuff, it's sad. I'm fortunate that my son hasn't really, at least as far as I can see, been affected by it. You know, he's, like I said, he's in a senior year in college, and he already has a job coming out of college, and seems to be a very healthy individual. But man, some of his peers, I just wonder if these messages are not, if everything about being a man is no longer okay. But when it comes time to save people, you know, the fact that men take risk, the men that, you know, and that's innate in us because, you know, the effects of testosterone versus estrogen in a person. That's probably one of those things that make you take more risk. You're more naturally inclined to that. You know, it's funny. It's interesting because I remember when, if you know who Milo Stewart is, goofy little kid who transitioned from female to male. One of the things that I'll call him he because he lives as he now. One of the things that he said when he started getting on testosterone treatments was that he felt how he takes more risk. He felt how he was becoming more aggressive. And even if you watched, I used to follow Milo on Twitter too, just for a goof. And then it was interesting how much more assertive and aggressive he was once had been on testosterone for a while. That's a natural effect of that hormone in someone's body. And so a lot of these so-called, what's the word? A lot of the so-called toxic traits that men have are natural traits. The natural traits to be protective, just like the natural traits for empathy through estrogen causes certain traits in women. It's okay for men and women to be different, but right now all we hear about are the bad things that men and women, or the bad traits that men have, and the constant bombardment of that is not good for young kids growing up. So I hate ads like that. All right, let's get out of that. I can't even talk about it. Let's see what else is going on Twitter today. What's on the news? Let's see. House lawyers meeting to evaluate subpoenaing Trump's interpreter. Oh, yippee. You know what? I'm going to stay away from politics today. That whole thing is, you know what? if someone has a private meeting, the interpreter isn't there to disclose the parts of the meeting. The interpreter there is specifically to be the interpreter, and if it's a confidential meeting, it's a confidential meeting. They shouldn't be able to disclose anything from it. Let's see. Hey, I just heard one of those beepy noises, and this is the first time I've ever done it. Oh, I got a new subscriber. That's awesome. I think that's what that beep was. One thing about using this system is I've never used it before, and I don't know how it works. Oh, hey. Hi, Stargazer. Good morning. Yeah, Gillette's getting woke. You can play that back later. It's just annoying. Okay, what else is new? You know, I get really tired of the spam stuff in Twitter, though. Oh, boy. Lots of Trump stuff this morning. Trump has now twice denied being an agent of a foreign power, which is 2 denials more than all previous presidents combined, winning. Well, you know, when you're being accused of being an agent of a foreign power, well, then you can deny it. So, whatever. I have a whole, the whole Trump Russia thing is silly to me. But it's, I'll get into that on another stream. I could talk for hours about that one. Let's see. Florida, Democratic rep. What's her name? Talib Rashid. What's her name? Oh, no, Rashida Tlaib. Photographed with a Palestinian activist who praised the terrorist group Hezbollah. Yep, I saw that. That was on Twitter. That's crazy stuff. Let me find anything else new. Oh, the man. So seems to be already a full court press on Tulsi Gabbard, who announced that she's thinking about running for president. And there's this article from The Hill that I'm looking at real quick here. Let's see. Let's check this out. It's really interesting. Now Tulsi Gabbard, if you're not familiar with her, I think she's a representative from Hawaii. And she is part of the progressive left. Now, for some reason, my... let's see. My internet connection's going bad here. I hope you guys can hear me just fine. I am just, let's see here. What's going on with my, there we go. All right. So now, she's a progressive left. I mean, but unfortunately, the establishment left does not like her. I mean, she's from the kind of the Bernie Sanders wing of the party. But the other thing about her now, and that's as far from my politics as you can possibly get. But I respect Tulsi Gabbard because she is sane, and she is very good at speaking to people that she doesn't necessarily agree with. She's very what's a good word for it? She's very just level-headed, and she's a great interview. I've listened to interviews from her, and I don't, even though I don't disagree with the words or agree with a lot of the policies she wants to talk about, I would love to have a conversation with her. She's a good interview, and she's very smart and articulate, and she's a former military person, and so I like her, despite the fact that I probably would never vote for her. However, she is on that far progressive left, the Bernie Sanders wing of the party, that the established Democrats just hate. And so there's already been this kind of full court press on how they're just trashing her. And so all of a sudden, all the news outlets that are still kind of, who support all the corporate Democrats, are just trashing her. So now it comes out, this article on the Hill. Gabbard worked for anti-LGBTQ group run by her father, says report. Now let's see where this report comes from. So, Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat Hawaii, who last week announced her plans to run for president in 2020, previously worked for an anti-LGBTQ organization run by her father and spoke out against civil union bills during her time in the Hawaii state legislature. CNN's K-File, and that's Andrew Kaczynski, who's just a jackass. Anyway, reported late Sunday that Gabbard cited her work backing traditional marriage during her run for the state legislature in 2002. Gabbard responded to the CNN report saying she regretted her past views and if she was elected as president, would continue to fight for equal rights for all. Now, she had long ago, but just changed her mind on that. Just she was in the same place that the Clintons were. She's in the same place that Barack Obama was, and I don't think she was against civil unions, but this was a long time ago. Anyway, CNN reported that Gabbard cited her work for her father's organization, the Alliance for Traditional Marriage, which spent money to oppose pro-gay lawmakers and backed a 1998 amendment. 1998. Okay, this is 20 years ago. 1998. 1998 amendment that reserved marriage for opposite-sex couples. The organization also promoted gay conversion theory, a practice that is outlawed in many states. Now, in 1998, remember who else was in favor strictly of traditional marriage? The current president of the United States at the time, which was President Bill Clinton, the first lady of the United States at the time, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, at least up until he ran for president in 2008 also. So basically everyone at the time, there was a lot of people who were only talked about traditional marriage, and I mean, it's just something that's evolved. I mean, personally, I was probably the same way. It was just a traditional or same-sex marriage was an oxymoron to most people at the time, and even to me, that's the way I saw it too. Even though I'd been to more than a few gay weddings, just because I'm respectful of my friends, and if they want to be married, I don't care. But at the time in 1998, that was the norm. That was the most common, the most common feeling around the country, and in fact, it was just becoming an issue that over time, the gay rights activists were able to, change people's opinion. And so now most people just don't care. I mean, I don't think marriage is the business of the government anyway. So I don't really, care how people want to live their lives. Let them live their lives, and it doesn't necessarily affect me. And so what? I don't care anymore. Anyway, let me if I read more. The report notes that Gabbard continued to oppose the expansion of gay rights during her time in the state legislature. She testified in opposition to a civil unions bill in 2004, which is not the only person who's done that. A news outlet reported, saying that Democrats should be representing the views of the people, not a small number of homosexual extremists. And let's see. In a statement to CNN following the publication of the story, Gabbard said she regretted her past views and noted that she has since voted in Congress to pass legislation that expands gay rights. I'm grateful to those in the LGBTQ community who have shared their aloha with me throughout my personal journey, Gabbard told CNN. Much work remains to ensure that equality and civil rights protection for LGBTQ plus Americans. And if elected president, I will continue to fight for equal rights for all. So, you'd think that's going to be enough, but you know what? Is Kevin Hart hosting the Oscars? No, he's not. So who knows? I personally think you're going to see a lot of people trashing Gabbard over the next few months, and probably discourage her from running. She is definitely not the establishment pick for what's the word? She's definitely not the establishment pick for running for president. So she's not an established Democrat by any stretch of the imagination, and they really don't want her. She's one person that if they did nominate her, I think maybe not in 2020, but in 2024, she'd be a really good candidate for the Democrats. Just because now I'm not 100% sure she could win, because it just depends on how far that Overton window get pushed to the left. But who knows? All right, what else we got here? Oh. So here's a story that you're not going to hear on CNN. I don't know. I don't always like to, well, my internet's kind of messing up. Can you guys, just out of curiosity, let's talk about my stream for a second. In the chat, for those of you who are here, am I coming in kind of choppy? Is this going fairly smoothly? Can you hear me? I know I'm having some internet issues here, and some of the stuff's moving slow. Let me know. Just write it in the chat there. That would be very helpful to me. Thank you. All right. This is from the El Paso Times. Guatemalan migrant tried to rape immigrant woman at El Paso shelter site, police say. A Guatemalan immigrant being housed at a motel by an El Paso nonprofit was arrested on charges he attempted to rape a migrant woman who was also staying at the motel. Francisco Maldonado Tojin, 23, allegedly attempted to rape a Guatemalan woman at about 9 a.m. Tuesday at the Budget Inn Motel, blah blah, in El Paso. Both Tojin and the woman were being housed at the motel by the Annunciation House, an El Paso nonprofit that provides shelter to immigrants released by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement or U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Can't watch. Sounds good. Can't watch the video feed. Yeah, I'm gonna work on this. I'll have to figure out the placement of my router, or my Wi-Fi router. Anyway, these type of stories, I'm not going to read the rest of the story, but these type of stories are just really popping up everywhere, and it's kind of disheartening. I'm a big supporter of immigration, being that a lot of my family is from Nigeria, and I have relatives who have immigrated here through legal means. But I just don't, I don't understand why there's this great battle about fixing immigration problems. Anyway, let's see, what else can we find in the old Twitter here? I got about 8 minutes and I'm going to go. I'm going to end at 10 o'clock my time, which is Central Time. Let's see. Nope. There's got to be something. Let's see. Sears is going broke, or has filed bankruptcy, if you weren't aware of that. It's funny. Sears, I know maybe between Sears and Montgomery Ward's, which has failed quite a long time ago, Sears was the Amazon of yesteryear. They started out as a catalog service. They would ship all over the country through their catalog, a lot of times through the Wells Fargo wagons and by train and UPS and things like that. In fact, Sears used to be a huge UPS customer back in the day. And then they evolved into the big box store that they turned into. And it's just interesting that the Sears of yesteryear has been, or the Amazon of yesteryear is being replaced a lot by the Amazon of today, which is all through sort of, it's a internet form of mail order, the old mail order catalogs. I remember even my grandmother still, when I was a kid, used to order a lot of stuff out of the Sears catalog and just have it shipped to their house rather than go shopping. And she worked at a department store, but she would order things out of Sears catalog all the time. And it's probably just like I order stuff from Amazon now. Oh, here's, this will be good. Let me see if you, tell me if you can hear this or not. Let's just start this whole thing. ABC News, I never worked for Russia, President Trump says on the White House lawn. Here's what he said.
I never worked for Russia, and you know that answer better than anybody. I never worked for Russia. Not only did I never work for Russia, I think it's a disgrace that you even asked that question, because it's a whole big fat hoax. It's just a hoax.
Okay, well that's and that's that. I don't know if there's any comment necessary. Let's see what else we got. I don't know if you're familiar with the Angel Family movement, or not movement, but just what they call the Angel Families. Of course, this is on Breitbart, so take it with a grain of salt. I don't have anything against Breitbart, but sometimes they sensationalize things just as bad as the salons and the Huffington Post on the left. I just, there's really, it's really hard to find just organizations that strictly do news anymore. But one thing about looking at sources from both the left and the right, at least you get, you're going to get stories from one side that you're never going to hear from the other. So, personally, I mean, I used to like Breitbart back when Andrew Breitbart ran it. Not as much as anymore. I don't really read their articles as much, but here's an article again. You're not going to hear, any of these stories on CNN or MSNBC. You might hear them on Fox News, but since January, neither CNN nor MSNBC has booked a single angel mom, mothers of children brutally murdered by illegal aliens, as guests on their networks per analysis excuse me, conducted by the Republican National Committee. The RNC told Breitbart News that it has tracked both networks since the beginning of the year, and as they intensely bash President Trump over the government shutdown that is now the longest ever in the history of the United States. Since the turn of the year to 2019 from 2018, neither network has conducted a single interview with any family members of victims of illegal alien crimes. The angel moms or angel families are the surviving family members of those Americans who were tragically killed by illegal aliens. Yeah, you can find this article on Breitbart, but that's amazing to me. I know that they've been talking about, the president talks about that all the time. They've not talked to one single victim of a crime from any of these families. They definitely cart on every single, the parents of the kids who were separated, or you feel bad for the two kids that died recently in border custody, but those kids came here sick. They tried to help those kids, but they haven't done one interview with a single person who's been affected by illegal immigration the other way. Not one. Interesting thing here. Here's a tweet by Donald Trump Jr. Why is Speaker Pelosi ignoring and refusing to meet with these heroic angel moms? Victims of illegal immigration deserve a voice, even if Pelosi and her Democrat friends want to pretend they don't exist. Here, let me just play this real quick.
You happy the president's holding the line?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm very happy. And, you know, I've said this before, but I would love the opportunity to stand in front of Nancy Pelosi, mother to mother, and look her in the eye and say, which child of yours or your grandchild of yours would you give up to support this agenda that you're this horrendous lie, the desecration of our children and our loved ones' lives. It's like it's a slap in our face and a kick toward our loved one's grave every time she does this. And I want the public to know, and I want Nancy Pelosi to know, I called her office again today and requested another meeting next week when I'm in D.C.
Yeah, I guess hell
And it was
over
dead silence from her staffer. I said, this is Angel Mom Marianne Mendoza. I'd like to request a meeting face-to-face, mother-to-mother with Nancy Pelosi about this situation. Dead silence, and the staffer said no.
Yeah, it doesn't help their cause not to meet with any of these people, but I understand maybe why a politician would not want to do that. But still, it's an area that, you know, they're supposed to represent the people in their district, but they're not gonna even be seen meeting with anyone with victims, because that doesn't help their agenda. It's a sad situation. All right. Well, it's about time for me to close up shop here. Just wanted to check one last thing. Then one thing that I never really do is look at what's trending on YouTube. And so I'm going to do that for the first time in a long time and see if there's anything we want to... let's see this may be a feature, because I'm always really curious about the things that trend on YouTube. There's never anything that I would ever want to watch, which is kind of funny. And so I've always, now that I'm looking at this, let's see. Here, I'm going to put this on the screen here. Trending on YouTube. Is organic really better? Healthy food or trendy scam? Okay. Yeah, I might watch something like that. Here's the three that were on the top of the page. Game of Thrones Season 8 official tease, which is corporate media. Eagles vs. Saints division round playoff, NFL playoffs, corporate media. And then something introduction video. This is something in Korean that I can't read. But it doesn't look like it's anything that's what YouTube... Here's my point of doing this, by the way. If you haven't noticed, everything trending on YouTube is very rarely by some just regular day-to-day creator. There's always something corporate about it. I mean, looking at this, I don't know about this, or is organic really better? Healthy food or trendy scam? I'm not sure if... Somebody in a nutshell, 2.1 million views. Okay, fine. Tottenham versus Man United. NBC Sports. Let's talk this out. Bryan Cranston's wait a minute. Why is Bryan... Let's talk this out. This is a good one. This is what I'll talk about. Let's talk this out. Bryan Cranston's controversial casting in The Upside. Why is that controversial? And I'm not going to play this because unfortunately I'll probably get a content strike for it. This is nuts. You know, I'm going to go back to me. When you cast a movie, the purpose of making a movie is to get people to come watch it, and you do that by having actors often that are recognized. So in this particular movie, it's Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. Bryan Cranston's playing a paraplegic helped by Kevin Hart. Bryan Cranston is a big name actor that draws people to the seats and is known. Now we already know that he can act. Now the argument on having people that represent whatever character that is being played, it's great in theory, but finding someone who can act and casting someone when you're casting in a certain place, you got to find people who can act, first of all. Number two, if I'm a certain minority or a certain category of person, do I care if the actor who's doing that is not exactly my category? Or would I rather have a movie get huge and alert people to what my particular issues could be? I'd much rather a movie be super successful. Now, granted, there is possibilities that you can have actors that you could probably, if you search long enough, you could probably find a paraplegic actor to be in that role. But they gotta think if they want the movie to be successful or not. So I don't know. It's just, this kind of stuff drives me nuts. Anyway, let's look what else is on here. Crazy Reckon Hacker, 8 burger gadgets to put to the test. Now that looks like somebody who might just be a regular old YouTuber. Unbox Therapy. This guy unboxes stuff for a living. 5-minute do-it-yourself challenge by Laura DIY. That's too long. Let's find something else. Try expensive swimsuit brands. Oh, great. So she tries on swimsuits for views. Okay, nice. Real Doctors reacts to Nurse Jackie. Medical drama review. Dr. Mike. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have to go watch these. I'm gonna find one of these for my next morning night live, and we'll examine one of these another day. But anyway, I heard another one of those beep things. What does that mean? I don't know. Hey, I've got 3 new subscribers out of this day, so that's a good day for me. So hey, let's just finish this up. It's been fun for my first, very, very first morning night live. Let's see if let's look at the chat real quick. Because, new subscriber, His Kitten. Hi there, His Kitten. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, hey, Brian Mullins. How are you doing? And I got a Hate Camister here. Tarkata. Is there an official story for the adult versus child fight outside the mall that's spreading on Twitter? Oh, hey, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Oh, that's the one where well, is this one of those Sean King stories? Did I just lock up? That's not good. Here, let's see. I'll ask through the chat because I can't tell. I've locked up on my own computer, so I don't know. Pretty much, I guess. Okay, good. Yeah, that story about the girl that got knocked out. I just saw something about that, or heard about that this morning, and obviously this is one of those kids where, oh man, it turns into one of these white versus black things, and you know what? I'm gonna have to look that up and see, get the whole story on that. I haven't heard completely about it, but I'm sure this is one of those. I'm sure Sean King alerts that have gone out. He's pissed me off. I want to talk about that. This Jasmine story too, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow because that story just irritates me to no doubt. And I do have something that I was going to do a video about, but I'm just going to actually instead talk about that one tomorrow too. So thanks for giving me for a couple topics tomorrow. Yeah, the official story, all I know is that that some 51-year-old dude punched a girl and knocked her out. But the story, my guess, no one just randomly hits a girl. So some kids were fucking with this dude, and I think one came at her and he protected himself and knocked her out. So I don't know the complete story. We'll find out. I'll find out today and then try to figure it out by tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get that on. So anyway, well, hey, so thanks you all for joining me today. This has been fun. I'm still, like I said, I'm working out some bugs as far as how the production of this goes. Also, I'm trying to set up. I want to keep this on OBS just to keep the screen looking more interesting, but I will figure out how to integrate Google Hangouts with it so I can have guests, because I don't really want to do it through Discord or anything like that. I think it's much cleaner when you do it through Google Hangouts. But that's going to be it for today. For those of you who are still here, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, that's what I thought. I think the main, that's my own. Let's see. Let me try something real quick. I know that my screen's locked up on my computer, but now it's not doing it on my own. Well, we'll figure it out another day. Anyway, thanks you all for coming. This has been the Morning Night Live #1, the very first show. I'm going to work on making this better every day. And again, thank you all for being here. Dawg Knight, and I am out of here.